Hey guys, it's Adam from Premium Poker Tools, and in this video I want to talk about the equity calculator. So in this video, I just want to kind of give you an overview of how the tool works and like what it does. I'm going to make some other videos to show you how you can use it to study, but here I'm just giving you an overview of what it does. So it's kind of easier to show you than to tell you, so let's just start playing around. So if we have aces and our opponent has kings, we can simulate and see that we have about 82% equity. If we have jacks and they have ace 3 suited, we have about 67% equity. If we have jack 10 suited and they have like ace 2 offsuit, it's going to be close, about 50-50. So here we've been doing like hand versus hand. It also works hand versus range. So if we have queen jack suited and they have a range of hands, like let's say this range right here, we simulate and see we have 36% equity. If we have pocket sevens against this range, we have 42 or 43%. So it works hand versus hand, it works hand versus range, and it also works range versus range. So if we said this kind of like a weak, like, I don't know, kind of a range here against this range, we see that this has 35% equity versus 65. If we say, let's say kind of like a 3-betting range of like this plus some bluffs, and we put this against this range, this guy's got 57% equity. So yeah, it works range versus range also. It also works multi-way. So if we have our range and we're against two opponents, let's say that they each have a 10% range, we can simulate and see that we have 41 and each of our opponents has about 29. So it works multi-way, and it also works post-flop. So let's set a random flop. So what we have here is it's showing you that this range versus this range, given this board, this range has 62% equity. We can also set like a turn card, so we can say if the turn comes a king, now we only have 61% equity. So, of course we can do a river card as well. Now we have 66%. So it works multi-way by clicking add player, and it works post-flop by setting these board cards. And, that's kind of like the gist of what's going on here. I didn't explain what the term equity actually means, so let me talk about that briefly. So kind of the simplest way to describe it is that when we talk about equity, we're talking about our win percentage, and then we factor in split pots as well. Because like if we only factored in the times we win, like that wouldn't count the money that we make when we have a split pot. So we want to count that money as well. So equity is basically like wins plus ties. And I also want to clarify that what we're talking about here, I guess we can call it like all-in equity. Poker players, like, they use the term equity to mean different things in different contexts. So in this context, where we're assuming that like the dealer just deals to the river and there's no more betting or anything like that, and once the river is dealt, we just flip and see who wins. So that's the kind of equity that we're talking about here. We're not talking about any other type of equity. And one last thing I want to go over is this section here. So let me use a different thing here. So let's say pocket fives against this range. Okay. So Pocket Fives has about 32% equity against this range. And what this is telling us is that if we had 3-to-1 pot odds, we would need 25% equity to justify calling, like if we're in an all in situation. Um, and we have 32. So that's more than we need. So it's green and there's going to be a check mark. Whereas if we have 2-to-1 pot odds, we need 33.3 and we only have 32.4. So we have less equity than we need. So it's going to be red and there's going to be an X. So a lot of times when you're using an equity calculator, you're interested in these sorts of things. You're seeing if you have enough equity to continue. So that's why I have this section up here to make it a little easier. And I don't want to get too down like the rabbit hole here, but I want to mention that these sorts of numbers, if you're not familiar with it, to check out David Sklansky's book called The Theory of Poker, and he'll talk more about where these numbers come from and like in what situations you can use it. And yeah, so if you're not familiar with this kind of stuff, check out his book. Okay, so one final thing is that you can create a link that you can send to like a friend or post in a poker form, and I'll show you what I mean. So if you want to study this spot, like you have pocket fives and you think this is your opponent's range, you're not sure what to do, you can click this and you take this URL and you post it in the poker forum or send it to your friends. And when your friend clicks on it, let's say, I'm just going to do this. So when your friend clicks on it, or when whoever in 2+2 clicks on it, they're going to see the same screen as you. So you don't have to describe, exactly what the board cards are, what you think their range is, all that. Like you post it and they see the same screen as you, and then they can play with it and they can, if they disagree with your assumption, like they might say, I think that they have all their pocket pairs, they can simulate and see for themselves how that changes things. So poker is something, it's probably not unique to poker. Like it's good to study with other people. It's not good to just sit by yourself and study by yourself all the time. You really want to like exchange ideas with other people. So that's why I kind of added this feature to make it easy to study the game with other people. So that's been an overview of the equity calculator. I hope that made sense. If anything didn't make sense, please email me at azerner3@gmail.com. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching.